and welcome to FFRF's Ask an Atheist. I'm Dan Barker.
I'm Annie-Laurie Gaylor. We are co-presidents of the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
The situation in the Ukraine is very dire right now. There are people escaping the country, people crossing the border into Poland where they are seeking help. And today we have with us two Polish activists who are doing all they can to help these poor Ukrainian refugees. One of them is the founder and president of the Fundacja Kazimierz Łyszczyński, which is an atheist organization, and another is also working with Freedom from Religion Poland, which, by the way, is not related officially with Freedom from Religion Foundation in the U.S. They're working on a project, as you saw at the beginning of the show, Humanists Across Borders for Ukraine.
And before we introduce them, this is an interactive program, so you can participate by sending comments or questions to askanatheist@ffrf.org, or just post your questions on Facebook.
And we have with us first Nina Sankari, who is the president of, tell me if I say this right, Fundacja Kazimierz Łyszczyński.
Excellent.
Fundacja imienia Kazimierza Łyszczyńskiego in Polish, but I know very well it's very difficult to pronounce. Yeah,
but that's.
I'm very, very happy to see you again, Donna, Annie-Laurie and Don.
We saw you.
And thank you very much for your invitation.
3 years ago, we saw you in Warsaw when you organized a beautiful conference for atheists and humanists. And we were proud to be able to participate there, right there in Warsaw, and celebrating and protesting and celebrating this man after whom your group is named, Kazimierz Łyszczyński.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, but we also want to introduce Henryk, and I hope I get your name right, Nazarewicz. Did I say that right?
Pretty close, Nazarewicz.
Okay, thank you so much also for being part of this and joining us. And now
it's a pleasure.
We do want to find out about Humanists Across Borders for Ukraine and what Polish atheists and humanists are doing to help the refugees and specifically the campaign that you've got now. Nina, would you want to start?
Yes, of course. Maybe before, if it's possible, I will say a few words about our foundation in general and about our patron, Kazimierz Łyszczyński, also known as Kazimierz Łyszczyński, Polish philosopher of 17th century, who was accused, tortured, and cruelly executed for his atheism. And in the treatise, the Non-Existentia Dei, he asserted that the God, being a creation of a man, does not exist, and that religion was constituted by people without religion, by the powerful without religion, with the aim of oppressing simple people. It sounds quite modern. So we consider ourselves as intellectual heirs of this thinker, and we concentrate our foundation activities on promoting freedom of expression and conscience, including in media, in science and art, on promoting worldviews based on rationalist reason, on scientific evidence and secular ethics. And we also are defending, protecting groups which are discriminated on from religious motivation. Maybe I can explain it more because it is something which is different from discrimination based on religion. Discrimination based on religion is focusing on different minorities, separating them. We are speaking about religion as a factor of discrimination. So it allows us to bring together the groups like LGBT people, like women, which are deprived in Poland, but not only of the rights of the right to choose. I'm speaking about the right to abortion, and also atheists and other groups. It allows us to see it under a different angle, not as separate groups, but to unite them and to allow them to fight together against clericalization of Poland, against this alliance between of church and state in Poland, which is a source of many big problems in Poland. Now, I don't know if we can go back to this last action, last campaign.
Yes, we'll talk a little bit more about atheism in Poland, but let's first talk about Humanists Across Borders for Ukraine.
Yeah.
And that is a campaign of the Kazimierz Łyszczyński Foundation, which is the Polish atheists, and also a group called Freedom from Religion Poland. And so maybe we could go to Henryk to talk about what the campaign is doing and who specifically is being helped now.
Sure. From the very beginning of the crisis with Ukraine, our foundation has started organizing help for the Ukrainians coming in masses to Poland. At the moment, we have, Poland has accepted more than 2 million people from Ukraine, mainly women with children. Our foundation got involved in organizing shelter, which means organizing mainly housing for those arrivals, and providing them with all the necessities, food, clothing, etc.
So how many people are you helping right now?
The better answer to this question would have Nina, but to my knowledge, it's around 60 people that are being helped by our foundation.
So Nina, the foundation is renting apartments. Last time we emailed you, there were about 4 apartments with about, was it 20 people? So it's really expanded the need.
Maybe it is a little bit different because we can speak about all the people who received help from our foundation. Foundation Kazimierz Łyszczyński Foundation, which the help of Freedom from Religion Foundation from Lublin, who are not here based in Warsaw, so they are helping us financially. So from the beginning, we received much more people, but they stayed with us a couple of days, 5 days, and then they left for Western countries. And for the time being, we had also to restrict the number of people. We cannot accept new ones. So for the time being, we are helping 21 mothers with children, small children, and we are giving their complex help, everything. As Henryk said, it is from renting houses, renting apartments, and in some cases, rooms in the shared flats. So for the time being, it is that, because we cannot accept more than not be able to keep them for long months. For the time being, we dispose of money which is enough to last about 3 months, and we don't think all of them will be able to go back to Ukraine in 3 months. So it is, in fact, a question of money. We cannot accept that much people without being sure that we can give them all the help needed.
So we have a slide and a way for people to donate. And the Freedom from Religion Foundation, we expect our board to vote a substantial donation, but individuals watching can donate via FFRF.org donate. And then there's a very important designation you have to select, which is non-belief relief. It's in the drop-down in our donation at ffrf.org/donate. ffrf.org/donate, or you'll see the donate on our website page easily, and look for the non-belief relief drop-down. And then we will get that to the Kazimierz Łyszczyński Foundation to help. And so,
can I ask, Nina, if you have more money, can you find more apartments, more flats, more housing?
Even if it is difficult now, it's becoming more and more difficult, because imagine in the space of 3 weeks, Warsaw increased by about 500,000 of population.
Wow.
So yes, there are close to 500,000 refugees in Warsaw. All of them, it is more than 2,200,000 people who come to Poland, but the majority of them is located in Warsaw, on other big cities as well. So now there is a shortage of apartments, meaning it costs more, but still we are able to hire more, to rent more of apartments, but also to take responsibility for keeping them in Warsaw at decent conditions for a longer time, because we don't think it will be over. I'm sorry, even if the war ends, which everybody would like to think, but even in such a case, they will not be probably able to come back to their houses, more of which have been destroyed.
So I want to turn to Henryk to talk a little bit about the basic needs. I mean, these are mostly mothers with small children, so they are arriving basically with nothing, right? They need water, they need food, they need diapers, they need shelter, correct?
Exactly right. And not only that, sometimes the mothers come with almost adult children, which also creates problems and special needs. I can tell you about my own experience, because the foundation is trying to utilize the housing, the accommodation in the best way possible. Sometimes it's difficult to find accommodation only for 2 almost adult people. And in such a situation, we have decided to give roof to 2 ladies from Ukraine, Tatiana, who is 45, and her 17-year-old daughter, which we have invited to live under our roof. They live in our apartment.
Well, that's very wonderful of you. So tell us more about what you're doing to help them and what their needs are.
They need everything, from organizing the documents, because they have arrived in Poland only with the very old handwritten passport of the mom, which means that she needs they all need current documents and right of stay in Poland. So we are trying to help them with. We are driving them almost every day to respective authorities to organize the documents for them. We are trying to organize clothing for them, showing them places where the clothing is being provided, or simply buying them stuff.
So it's really, they're just wrenched out of their lives and so many needs. And it's a terrible, terrible thing to watch from afar.
It's a terrible experience. Exactly right. Their travel here to Poland also was very, very difficult and dangerous. For instance, the two ladies that came to our place traveled in a convoy of 6 cars. The mother and the daughter were separated. They were in separate cars. And once they approached Winnica, I think the place is called, in Ukraine, the car where the daughter was broke down. And the mother with the rest of the convoy, they continued their journey towards the Polish border, while the daughter with the others in the broken car had to stay there. And during that time, Winnica got bombed. So the mother was terribly worried about the well-being of her daughter. Wow. So you can imagine.
And I imagine that among the 2 million refugees, Nina, there are people in Warsaw who have not only seen their homes and apartment buildings obliterated, but have lost relatives and friends who've in the bombings.
Yeah. We have among our guests a young mother with 2 children who lost about, it was 4 days ago, she lost her brother. And it was quite a heroic death because he was trying to cover some civilians, and this way he died. For the time being, all those young ladies, all those young women had their partners, their husbands already mobilized in the army. So they're very much in a worry. They are very much, how to say it, nervous about it. And it is not very easy to have a connection with people who are in the army, you know. So in fact, they know for the time being that their husbands are alive, but the connection is not easy. And where you asked about the needs, I would like to mention also that it is not only about the documents, about the regularization of their stay in Poland, which is really complicated because they have to get the Polish ID numbers in order to receive help, in order to receive a regular help. Because for the time being, all which is done, it is done by the NGOs, by the private people, and not so much by the government. So already for obtain this ID number, people are are in line from 4 a.m. In the morning. And it's sometimes it's 3 days they start to make this line, and without obtaining the number because it is too long. But there is also the question of schools. Fortunately, thanks to our relations, thanks to help of our other atheists, we were able to already put to scolarize our all school pupils. But it is also very difficult to obtain a place in the nursery, for example, and it is not so easy to get medical help. And the children and babies, we have one baby of 1 month. So it's really very complex for the beginning to ensure them, to guarantee them all the help really necessary, really needed. But we are trying to do our best. For example, Henry did not mention that the girl, 17 years old girl, is still trying to end his scholar year, to end it, to got it online with her school in Dnipro. So she needed a laptop or something to be able to do it, to do her lessons and to enter online in contact with her school. And she received. Henry did not say it, but they gave her the laptop, and she's currently doing her lessons online. The others are already placed in Polish schools.
Wow. Now, what about the Polish? What about the language barrier?
There is a language barrier, but I think it is not only two Slavic languages, but maybe the more close. They're really very much close. So for the small children, for the 10 years old, it seems to be quite easy. Our government started, and other authorities, for example, authorities of Warsaw, started to put in place a kind of preparative classes of Polish in schools. And it is a really good thing. But in the meantime, our pupils, our schoolgirls and schoolboys are already very happy to go to school. And from what I heard from them, it's happening really well.
So, but this is a huge humanitarian crisis. And so let's put up on the screen again how you can donate to help Ukrainians across border, or humanists across borders for Ukraine. It's ffrf.org, our website, under the donate link.
Can you say ffrf.org/donate?
Yeah, or look for the donate link.
Yeah.
And at our website, and then choose the designation non-belief relief. And also when you donate, there's a comment section at the end where you can also indicate for Ukraine, so that this is a very practical way where we know the money is going to go for need instead of bureaucracy. So what you're doing there, Nina and Henryk, is a great humanitarian thing, and giving people around the world a way, humanists and atheists around the world, a way to contribute.
So Henryk, sometimes we hear that atheists and humanists don't have any morals or don't have any compassion because they don't believe in God. As a non-believer, why do you care? I mean, where do you get your morals from?
Because I don't have to take the morals from the church, right? It's not difficult at all to be a good person without the church and without religion. That's what I believe in.
Yeah.
So before we go back to the state of atheism in Poland and what your Atheist Foundation does there and the other challenges you have, Nina and Henryk, is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you want to add about the humanitarian crisis and what you're doing?
I would like to add something. We are atheists, but we are receiving everybody who needs help. We don't ask anybody of their confession or their belief, but we are always saying from the beginning that we are atheists, because this way we would like also to contribute to change this opinion Dan you quoted a few moments ago. We don't speak later on about religion, but those people are so much happy about all they are receiving. Sometimes they don't even really believe. I would like to say that at the beginning, when our foundation inscribed, our foundation make it public that we are expecting Ukrainian refugees, and we will host them and give them any help for free. We did not receive any candidacy, anybody. And then I heard, because I asked a volunteer who were speaking with people at the Central Railway Station, people coming who did not have any friends in Warsaw. And when she was saying that she can place them for free, they could not believe it. They said it is impossible. It must be fake. But then we were in contact with the Ukrainian house, and they started to send us people regularly, because they already, as they said, they already got trust in us. So I think it is this contribution that we would like to make also.
Well, and that's so important. I mean, that yes, you're serving people. You don't care what religion they are. You're not trying to convert them, but you're open to them about who it is that's helping them, and that it's a very good way to hopefully dispel myths about atheists.
We are atheists.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Maybe you don't know the answer. Maybe you do. But in Russia right now, is the church in Russia opposed to the war? Are they condemning the war? Or what is the church actually doing in Russia? Do you know?
I do. Officially, the church is for the war. The Russian Patriarch Cyril, or Kirill in Russian, he is blessing the Russian troops going to fight in Ukraine. So it's a really a very bad situation, the worst you could really think of.
Yes, it's a religious, in a way, a religious motivated war. The blessings of the Orthodox Russian Church, which is so regressive against LGBTQ and abortion rights, so anti-human rights, and of course Putin is all entangled with it.
And so the church is immoral, but it's the atheists who are doing good in the world, isn't it?
That's what we would like to demonstrate.
So,
but there is also another problem, because the Russian church is fighting against the recently separating from this church Ukrainian autocephalic church. So even those two churches are in state of war.
wow. Yeah. So do you know, is the typical Ukrainian tending to be Catholic and tending to be religious, or is there widespread free thought there?
First of all, they are not, in majority, they are not Catholic. In majority, they are, or they're Ukrainian Orthodox Church.
I see.
So it is not Catholic, but it used to be a very secularized country. However, with the changes of, like in Poland and different other countries of the ex-communist bloc, those countries were subject to a massive clericalization. So now many of them are religious. And among our guests, I saw some children, for example, with the cross pending on their, but I think that it could be the same as for Poland, very superficial.
So before we go to questions, we do just want to talk a little bit more about Kazimierz Łyszczyński, that your foundation is named for, who was it, how many hundreds of years ago he was executed. And we have a video of a reenactment that the tail end of it, that we were at in 2019. You can hear the drum roll.
No, they're going to cut his head off. Not for real.
Yeah, we were...
Because he criticized religion, and he wrote a book critical of God. So the Polish authorities put him to death.
And then I think you've got some more pictures, Bruce, of the balloons. And the balloons translated said freedom from religion. I don't know if you can put those up. There's a picture of Dan with a balloon.
Yeah, that says freedom from religion, right?
So there were hundreds of people who came to that. That was, what anniversary was that, Nina, of his execution?
I don't remember. It was 330.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And
because in 89, he was executed in 89. 1689.
1689,
Oh, okay.
That's right. And so the situation, I just want to briefly talk about the situation in Poland, which is, you're not in a liberal country anymore. You have persecution of LGBTQ. You have, well, of course, you're the one who opened my eyes to the situation with abortion, which we now face in this country, where Poland used to be a beacon of abortion rights, and women from around Europe would come to have abortions in Poland, and now it has the most extreme anti-abortion laws, and we are seeing what happened in Poland, unfortunately, starting to happen in the United States. And so free expression, how free are atheists in Poland?
Okay. Shall I, or you want?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Already legally, we have discrimination of atheists in Poland, already by our laws. Even if the preamble to the Constitution is trying to say that all the Poles are equal and doesn't matter if there are believers or not, there are many laws that are opposed to that and which are oppressing, discriminating atheists, starting with the restoration of the 196 law, restoring in Poland blasphemy law.
Really?
So it is called the law on protection. Protection, yes, of protection of religious feelings. So under this name, we have, in fact, the regular blasphemy law acting in Poland, and there are people who are accused and who are fined, not yet arrested, but who are already condemned from this article. So starting with that. Then we have a law in Constitution, the one of the points of our Constitution saying that all the parents have the right to raise their children in their beliefs, according to parents' beliefs. But in fact, it is not true, because we have in schools the catechism lessons who are more the classes of catechism are take more time than biology, chemistry, and physics altogether. We have public Catholic schools, not only private, but public Catholic schools. So how, if you are an atheist, you can be a pupil in such a school? We have also in the system of education, it is also in universities. And there was a case that one atheist wanted to enter the Catholic University of Peredzik, our very, very famous how to call him? Yes, he is a priest, redemptorist, but he is in fact an owner of the media imperium even, and this university. So he was excluded. He was not allowed to enter this university, and he even lost the case at the Polish court. So there are many other laws who are discriminating, who discriminate atheists. Maybe now Henryk will add something. Henryk?
Very good examples.
Okay. Yeah.
These were very good examples. The father director, as he is called in Poland, Father Rydzyk with his media imperium and the private university, is a very good example of the situation that you have described.
Well, we think we have comments and questions coming in, and while Dan looks at that first question, let's get up on the screen again how people can contribute to the Humanists Across Borders for Ukraine. The easiest way here in the United States is if you want to make a contribution in care of FFRF, and we will get it to Nina and the Polish atheists at ffrf.org/donate, and look for the non-belief relief drop-down, and you can also make a comment that this is for Ukrainian refugees.
So Nina and Henryk, this is a live show right now. We have viewers who have questions that they are asking, and I have some questions here. One of them is from Alexander DeWitt. Alexander says, I know Poland has a history of being extremely Catholic, and I'm wondering, with the fact of the Ukrainian invasion by Russia and the refugee crisis, if the Polish religious heads are pulling back on rhetoric for the majority Orthodox Ukrainians.
Is that clear? I think they want to know how the church is responding in Poland.
It was really very, very interesting, because they were very late. They were not so in a hurry to express their support for the Ukrainian refugees. And they really made us waiting for expressing finally their moral support for Ukrainian refugees.
Anything to add, Henryk? No?
Yeah, I wanted to say they not only here in Poland were they very late in responding to the crisis, but also at the very top. The Pope never named Putin in his speeches as the one who caused the war, and the war has never been condemned by the Church officially.
The Catholic Church has never officially condemned Putin?
That's correct.
Wow, I did not realize that.
Wow.
That's correct.
Well, thank you. We have another question here from Marcia Letol, I think that's how you say it. Marcia asks, what do you think is the most important thing that free thinkers and humanists around the world should know about this conflict?
Maybe both of you can answer.
Everyone should realize how big a humanitarian crisis it creates. As we have mentioned before, the Polish population has increased enormously, and only in Warsaw, during the 3 weeks, the population of Warsaw increased by something like 20% now. So this would create a huge burden on any society. So really every penny counts, and it would be great if we could have something to share with the Ukrainians.
If I can add something, it is, of course, a matter of money. It is a matter of help, substantial help, but it is also the matter of restoring trust in humanity, because these people are coming from the place where their lives were destroyed, their dreams were destroyed, their relatives were dead, and etc., etc. They are in the state of psychological distress. They've seen the horrible things, and they need to receive help, not only just to live, to survive, but to get back the hope on people, on humanity, for humanity.
And I do want to say to anybody who's watching that the warnings are always that there's a great deal of sympathy at the beginning for refugees, and then they do become a great burden on society, and the money dries up. It's important to get that money out now while people's sympathies are high. And here's a group that you can help. It's called Humanity Across Borders for Ukraine, Humanists Across Borders for Ukraine. And you can, there's the website of the Kazimierz Łyszczyński Foundation, the Facebook page, which you can go to and translate. But if you want to give a donation, the easiest way for you in North America is to go to ffrf.org/donate. and pick the non-belief relief drop-down, or put a comment in the field there on the donation page that this is to help refugees in Ukraine. And we will get your donation, your tax-deductible donation, to Poland. And terribly important for that money to come now before it dries up, before the interest dries up, because this is always what happens in humanitarian crises.
And Nina, we know that you don't keep any of the money. You use all of the money to go directly to help the people.
Let me say something. In general, we are all volunteers in our foundations. We don't take any money. We don't are paid. We don't hire paid staff. But unfortunately, we don't get any state subventions as atheists. So all we can get it is via donations of our our allies, our sympathizants, our fellow atheists, our fellow humanists, and be sure we don't use this money for any other needs, any other reasons than the good of our guests, our refugees from our war refugees, people who fled the tragedy.
Well, thank you so much.
We should also hasten to say that there won't be any surcharge. FFRF will just pass on the non-relief donations directly to the Polish organization. So it's pure charity.
And it's so good to actually know the people that you're helping, you know.
And yeah, there's
you're not
some
just
pictures.
giving to some big group, but we actually know you.
We had a technical problem. We couldn't show all those pictures, but I'm sure you can find them on the Kazimierz Łyszczyński website, which if you look up Polish atheist, that's what's going to come up.
Well, thank you so much.
And any parting words?
Thank you. Maybe just to say that it is so rewarding to see the children's faces smiling because they are safe and they are surrounded by good people, that it is much more. It is much more than any money.
And Henryk, we want to give you a chance to say goodbye.
Yes, Annie Laurie, Dan, thank you very much. It was a pleasure being on the show and trying to put a word for those who are really in need.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for all that you are doing. Before we go, we want to tell you about some of our other shows. This is our live weekly FFRF's Ask an Atheist, as you can see on the monitor back here, every Wednesday at 12 noon Central, where you can ask questions. We also have a national radio show. It's called Free Thought Radio. And this week we'll be speaking with the author of a book called Denmark Vesey's Bible, written by Professor Jeremy Schipper. A fascinating book. I've read a lot of stories about slave revolts, but this is a story that shows how the Bible was used on both sides of the debate. The slave rebels used the Bible for freedom, but the slave owners used the Bible to promote slavery. We'll be talking with him on Free Thought Radio this week. And then Free Thought Matters?
Free Thought Matters will be a nice break. We will be listening to the music primarily, listening to music of atheists and very wonderful jazz musicians, Tahira Clayton and Addison Fry. Do we have a little snippet?
And I stopped in my tracks, only to ask, what am I leaving behind? What am I leaving behind? To blow, come blow, we sing this simple tune for me and you.
And then next week on Ask an Atheist, our Director of Governmental Affairs, Mark Dan, is going to join us to talk with the Southern Poverty Law Institute about religious right groups that are really being classified now as hate groups. So don't miss that next week. Same time, same place. And thank you.
Thank you for watching Ask an Atheist. We'll be back next week.